I believe
Are
we are
we
live.
live? All right. No technical difficulties this week?
None this week.
That's
I have
great.
tested, just for anyone watching, listening, I have tested it so many times, so I'd be shocked if there was a technical difficulty. How are you,
Well,
Anthony?
I am good. How you doing? I'm going to pull it up on the other screen to make sure, but yes, I see it. We're good.
We're good, we're good. I'm going to pull it up on my phone too. We are
Just to
triple
make sure.
checking, guys, triple checking.
All right. Well, that's exciting. How's it going, everyone?
How you going?
Good. Just long days, little sleep. We are 3 weeks and 1 day away from World Championships.
Crazy.
Um, we had obviously what is a big weekend of racing this past weekend. Uh, for anybody that wants to know, today's show this week, we have our special guest is Tom Rodgers. He is Australia's third male athlete in APAC's fourth male athlete. Uh, but he gets he qualified through the last chance qualifier by winning Barcelona, and we'll go when he jumps on. We will get. We got lots of questions for him, but if anybody has other questions for him outside of that, make sure you comment them, and we'll be sure to ask them. Additionally, other things we're going to go on is there's a Hyrox athlete who made the CrossFit Games. We'll talk about the spectators and athletes going to Worlds and what do you have to be to make the World Championships. Uh, Hyrox Berlin happened. Saw a lot of stuff happening around Hyrox Berlin this past weekend, and then we have some comments that we saw on social media from some of the athletes with their opinions on Berlin. And then we also saw a world record broken, some other notable people that are going to be in the Elite 15 at World Championships do a run in Berlin. Most of them did doubles of some sort or relay. And we have our first set of teams announced for the Hyrox relay. So we'll go over some of those as well as an upcoming race, which includes Hyrox Bangkok, and we have the results from Hyrox Incheon in Korea.
Massive
Lots to
week.
get, yeah, lots to get through. Even if it's like it might seem like a down week a little bit, there's always something. And then we also, I believe you said there's a Deadly Dozen coming up.
Yeah, we've got the first Deadly Dozen in Australia this Saturday with a few Hyroxes actually who are heading over to Chicago, whether it's in the age group championships. Oh, here we've got Tom. Hello, Tom. How you going?
Hey, we got
Morning,
yeah.
guys. Good, thanks yourselves.
How's it going?
Good, good. Yeah, just quickly, we've got I think Daniel Payne who's racing Elite 15. He's racing this weekend in the Deadly Dozen. So yeah, that'll be good to kick things off and see how they go in that particular race.
Yeah, it's fantastic. How's it going, Tom?
Yeah, good, thanks, Anthony. Yourself?
Good. Good to meet you.
Yeah. It's been a while. I followed you for a while, so no, it's great to meet you. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we were talking about what we're going to go over today. We have a list. I wrote down 11 questions. I'm sure Bernice will have more, and we'll follow some tangents for however long we have you today. Um, Not to foreshadow too much what we're going to talk about later, but I was curious. I'm going to jump down to one of my questions. What's your opinion currently with like the qualifications about Berlin, and like how do you feel about that?
Straight
Yeah.
into it.
No. Yeah, firstly, before I go into that, I want to say congrats to the guys who did, or the guys and girls who did fast times there, because obviously the courses are all different, but it doesn't take away from what the athletes have done. Like, obviously, they've done really well. There's some top athletes there, and I think some of those athletes will definitely be in the Elite 15 next season. But yeah, in terms of the qualification system and the times, I don't think we should have a time-based qualification system for the elite racing. Yeah, the courses are so different, and I just think it's hard for the athletes who are trying to qualify. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Well, I had a question. I was trying to look it up before I got to this, but I don't remember. So one of the talks about it is that it is a one lap course, right? So so was Auckland. So what do you think the difference between, was it just too hot in Auckland?
Um,
You went there, hey
I
Tom. I don't.
still I did Auckland,
You did
yes.
Auckland, yeah.
Yeah, I still maybe question the measuring process for the races. Just looking at the run times in Berlin, I just yeah, they were super quick, I guess.
Yeah, I heard the lap was a little short, but I also saw that a lot of people had like 5 or 6 minutes of rock zone time. It was a very long rock zone.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's true. Yeah.
I think it was hilly as well, wasn't it? As in not excessively hilly, but I think the lap itself had a little bit of an uphill.
The Auckland,
The
yeah.
Auckland one, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Auckland it was super hot and humid. Um, and the sled pull on that day was just crazy. But yeah, I guess you get that at every event. It's always different on the sleds.
yeah, heat and humidity play a big role in that too, I'm sure. Okay, yeah, we'll get more into that because I was curious. I had the same thought as you. Like, you know what, they were able to run it, and that's great for them. Why wouldn't they go for it if they're given the opportunity? Like, a lot of those people, like, they put a lot of work in and they got a PR. They deserve the PR. Uh,
Yeah,
got to
Yeah.
mention too, it's just one time. Like, if they actually want to make it, a lot of those guys, maybe they get one time and that's could be the best they do, you know? And they still have to match it though, because what some of those times, I think the Elite 15, like, to be secure in it, your average time before Glasgow had to be under 57 minutes. And from what I remember, there was like only four guys that broke 56. So even if the course was 2 minutes fast, like, they still have to run a 56 on another course to be in.
yeah, yeah. No, that's true. And then even like you look at Emilio, he raced Barcelona and yeah, I think he went 54 mid in Berlin,
Yeah.
which is
It,
yeah, super impressive. Like yeah, he got his wall balls right in Berlin, and it just shows like
yeah.
what caliber of an athlete he is.
Yeah. And I mean, he was first or second for a lot of Barcelona, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
really fell apart in the wall balls. But I mean, that could have been 3 minutes right there for him. So
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. We'll get into that, but I'll uh, I'll back up here for first because Tom, I wanted to learn a little bit about you. What's your sports background?
Yeah, so I grew up doing just cross country at school and a bit of swimming as well, and played a lot of team sports. And then I sort of got into triathlons maybe in year 9 or 10, and yeah, did that competitively for the best part of 10 years probably. And there's probably 3 or 4 years where I was taking it quite seriously, racing at a professional level, doing half Ironmans. But yeah, obviously not making an income from that, so I had to yeah, sort of give that up and get a full time job. But yeah, triathlons was my main sport.
So you reached the pro level in triathlon. That's amazing. What'd you end up doing for your full time?
I'm a police officer.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
nice.
Saving the
Are you
world.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, no.
where do you are you? I don't know a ton about Australia. I know most of the people live on the East Coast there, right? So, are you in the same area as JK, like Brisbane, Gold Coast, or are you Sydney and
I'm down in Melbourne, so it's
Melbourne?
pretty cold at the moment. Yeah, I think it's about I don't know 0 or 1 degree this morning. It was before I woke up.
Sounds nice. It
Not
was it
yeah,
was 100 degrees Fahrenheit here yesterday, 101, which what is that? 42 Celsius.
yeah. Whereabouts are you guys in America?
So I live in Las Vegas,
Okay, yeah, oh,
so
good.
Southwest U.S. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, cool. When was your first race? Which one?
My first race would have been Sydney Hyrox in 2023. And then I did Melbourne that year as well, and then Hong Kong at the end of 2023.
Nice.
Which
Yeah.
that race, Anthony, you should mention. I'm trying to remember, Tom. It was what JK finished in first. We had a few of the CrossFitters competing,
So
didn't we?
I
James
think
Newbury,
oh, the
Ricky,
Sydney one.
the very first
Yeah,
one you would have competed in. I think Ricky Garrard came second. Where did you were fourth or
I
fifth?
was fourth. Yeah, so there was Ricky Gerard, and then Chris Woolley, and then
Yeah,
myself. Yeah,
yeah,
so
that was a good
I
race.
I
yeah.
just pulled up your high results here, and I thought it showed every race. It doesn't have those first two though. It starts with Hong Kong, and I was actually about to say, according to this, like it doesn't
Yeah.
show those first two races. You got second in Hong Kong, second in Sydney, and second in Brisbane,
Yeah.
2024. And then there's all first places. I was gonna say the only person you've lost to in a Hyrox is JK.
the the Hong Kong race, Tangy Cruz beat me, but then
Oh,
I think since 2023, JK is the only person to beat me. Yeah. So yeah, I was saying that to someone at work last night. They brought up JK, and I was like, yeah, that man, he's the one who just keeps stopping me.
You just want him not to race in Australia, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really good start. That's a really good just coming out the gate hot. Um, Wanted to ask you then, how is your preparation different for Barcelona, the LCQ, versus like any of the other races you did? Since that really seemed to be the first one that you traveled uh, for. Like besides, I mean, I know you went north south, but like east west travel.
Yeah, Barcelona was sort of my A race for this season. I just knew it was my best chance to get into the Elite 15. So my whole season was sort of based around that race. And Auckland was sort of like it was a build-up race, and I really wanted to get a good time in Auckland. And I reckon I was almost as fit in Auckland as I was in Barcelona. It was just I think the course was just a lot tougher. Um, but yeah, I'd say I had just a really good build up to Barcelona. Not a lot of my training changed. I just I probably did a little bit more sled work, and yeah, to be honest, it was actually a really similar build. Like I just every race I did, I'd take out some of the things in my training that didn't work, and then I'd just add a few things in that I thought could help improve certain areas. Like I worked on my burpees a lot more between those races. I think I took maybe 20 seconds off my burpees, and then I don't think I would be running any quicker than I was before, but I think just more racing. I probably ran a little bit quicker in the race, just being more used to the exercises, I guess.
Nice. Uh, what what kind of stuff did you change over from triathlon? Did you kind of do triathlon style training except for adapt it to high rocks? Like, so instead of biking, you just or swimming, you were just like, well, I'll put skills in there that are same as what I've been doing, just different modalities.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like very similar. Like each week, like the three quality run sessions, very similar to triathlon. It was usually two like individual quality runs, and then one would be like a brick session, which is pretty similar how I do my training now. Although not every week, I'll do like a compromised or high rock sort of similar workout, but building up to a race, I'll probably do more of those. Um, and then yeah, like a lot of station work sort of mixed into to circuits. I do quite similar training to what you guys do, like the double threshold, or I do sort of three key days, and then two sort of moderate days and two recovery days, which is pretty similar to what I did in triathlon as well. Yeah.
Nice. Um, so, going to Barcelona, you hit a 2 minute 13 second PR. When you went there, obviously you said it was for your A race. You achieved. I'm assuming you achieved your goal because you won the thing, and now you got to re-prep for Worlds. But as far as the atmosphere at the LCQ, a lot of us weren't there, but we know the atmosphere of like the majors and how really pumped up it is. Did you feel like that was I don't know if you've been to a major before, but like how much energy was in the building? Was everybody prepared, ready? Did everybody understand like what was at stake and um, going into
Yeah.
the race? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, I haven't been to a major before, but I'm guessing it wouldn't be on the same level as that. But definitely, like in the warm up area, I was sort of looking around, and it was just all the guys I'd pretty much looked up to the last 2, 3, 4 years, even, and yeah, like you could tell there was a lot of nervous energy. Like everyone was there to get one of those top three spots. And they had like this little warm up area that was it was like part of the building, and so there was literally like probably half of the top guys in there just warming up right next to each other. Um, but yeah, no, it was yeah an amazing experience.
That's awesome. So did you being on that start line, did you have a plan that you were gonna take it out at a different pace than everyone, or not not be sucked into what everyone was doing, no matter what they did? And did you expect to be able to win?
Yeah, I definitely had a plan. I think after Auckland, I'd reevaluated the way I needed to race, just because the I just cooked myself on the sleds and lost like over a minute to some of the top guys early in the race. And yeah, I sort of looked at the way some of the Elite 15 athletes were racing, some of the smaller Elite 15 athletes like Rich Ryan and Paleo, and just to see how they take the first couple of runs when they're probably two of the quickest runs in the sport, two of the quickest runners in the sport. So yeah, my plan was to take the first two runs in the ski quite easy, and then get through the sleds, and then race the race basically from there, which was hard to do obviously because everyone was going out pretty quick. But yeah, it seemed to work for me. I felt really good coming off the sleds, and I think my runs got quicker as the race went on. I think,
That's
um,
that's fantastic.
yeah,
Um,
and
so
yes,
without giving away anything that you don't want to, but like what would you do differently for Worlds now?
very similar training. I was a bit unhappy with my wall balls just because I had seven no reps. So I've just been working on that a bit. Just I think my accuracy. Um, I think that's the main reason I was no repping. And then yeah, I've pretty much got a very similar program. I'm just trying to go a little bit quicker on every station. Still working on my burpees, still working on my sleds. Um, yeah, just try and get a few percent on everything. I think is my plan.
And
That's
should
awesome.
mention that Tom's racing with Chris, aren't you, in the Elite 15 doubles with Chris Woolley? Have you, I mean, is there anything in particular you've had to change up with your training to train for that race as well? Or are you kind of like a lot of the other athletes who are doing both, where it's just your training's your training?
Yeah, pretty much. Like my training's definitely directed towards the individual race,
Yeah.
but I do like some sort of Tabata sessions where I'm like working for like 40 seconds, resting for 20 seconds, which I think is quite similar to the doubles training. And then I do sort of the VO2 max sessions maybe once every three weeks in a lot of the individual components of the race. So I think that's quite handy for the doubles as well. But
Nice.
yeah, definitely more targeted towards the individual race.
Yeah.
Um, what do you expect from like your first Elite 15 race? You've never been there on that start line with those 14 others, and looking at the men's field, there are only two men that are rookies, you and Hide. That excludes Rylan because Rylan qualified last year, but he's never towed the start line, so he could be a rookie too. Um, Whereas like the women's field has eight rookies, eight women that have never started
Yeah.
on the Elite
Crazy.
15 World Championships line. But the men's field only two. You're one of them. What do you expect? What do you hope to get out of your first race?
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably something I've been dreaming of since 2023. Pretty much every day in training, it's what I think of. So to be there, it's pretty crazy. But No, like initially I just wanted to make it, but yeah, I'm there to race. Like I want to race the top guys. That's what I've dreamt of, and yeah, I'm definitely not there to make up the numbers. What place I get, I'm not too sure, but I just want to put my best race forward, and once I get past those sleds, like it's on. Like I can't wait to get out there and see what I can do. To be honest, yeah.
It
Are
will.
you one of those guys that has the sign that's like they used to put up in front of their training? Do you have like a what's JK doing or like
Nah, not really. But yeah, like sometimes before a hard workout, I'll jump on their Instagram, jump on JK's Instagram, maybe see what he's up to. Just like, right, let's go, let's get into this, you know? Yeah.
He's your competition. I'll actually be intrigued, Tom, just to see the athletes who qualified from the LCQ where they place. Just because, I mean, even thinking, Anthony, you're probably going to know more than me, but James last year qualified from an LCQ and ended up coming in third. So it just shows that just because you're qualifying through an LCQ doesn't make you any less of an athlete than those who qualified from a major.
yeah, so the top people, obviously JK was an LCQ qualifier, finished in third. And on the women's side, it was Kate Davey, who was an LCQ qualifier, finished in sixth. Now there were more spots available at the LCQ last year. Like the men had 3 spots, but the women had like five or maybe six, seven spots at an LCQ. So there were a lot more LCQ racers. They got qualified from the because of last year, but as far as like how high they've placed, like year one of an LCQ, you still had somebody finish on the podium. Uh, so just because they're the last 3 in the field doesn't mean they're going to finish the bottom 3 for sure.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
How do you feel, Tom, with the with the LCQ? It didn't happen on the men's side this time round, but with there being other waves later that can potentially come up and grab your spots. Like I know John Wynn had to kind of sit there waiting to see if anyone grabbed his spot. Like how do you feel about that process? Do you think that's something that Hyrox could maybe try and be putting people into the one wave so that's not happening as much?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's definitely something that needs to be looked at. It's also hard because, like, obviously with the LCQ, you want everyone to have an opportunity to get a spot. But I guess you almost need to have when athletes register. I think they need to put their hand up and say, "I want to be fighting for one of these spots," and then Hyrox, I guess, need to look at their previous times and then weigh that up. But yeah, obviously you can still get that one athlete that hasn't had a good time and then they just do something crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it is because being in that first wave is so different to being in the other waves. It can be positives and negatives for being in the first wave, I guess. I think the judging is probably or potentially going to be harder, but then you also get the benefit of racing the other guys. But yeah, I've had that experience of being put in later waves as well. So
Well,
hopefully it's something they're looking at.
I mean, I don't know how it happens or what happens, but we just saw too that there's a difference between apparently the target size for a pro race versus an elite race, right? The target it narrows down. So do those later waves have a bigger target that they get to throw to, in terms of was it switched over, or is all the pro the same as the elite target?
Yeah, right. I didn't realize that. So it changes, does it?
Yeah, they have a different setting.
Mm.
So like which one,
Oh,
how big the acceptable hit area is on the target changes.
so
Um,
that's why I was getting no reps. That makes sense.
You can use that excuse now.
yeah, well, I think you go look at Ian K's post on UKHXR. I think he posted it yesterday about the target size, but it's I think it's 2 inches from the exact center is the elite target, and 3 inches is the normal pro target in terms of a radius. So, yeah, it's an extra inch on each side. That's a bigger area to hit. And
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
saw how many no reps the some of the women got in the LCQ, and maybe it could just be off of that.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And the races are so close now that something like that can literally make a a difference between who
And-
qualifies.
and, yeah, so if the later heat got the bigger target, I mean that's the difference from some of those later heats to qualifying is only a couple of reps.
Yeah.
It could have made a difference. We don't know. I don't think so. I think they probably had the elite setting on there because they call it the elite setting for any qualifying race. But who knows?
What do you guys think about the qualification system and how they should potentially do it for next season?
I don't know. I'm in two minds about it. There's a part of me, I was saying to Anthony before we jumped on, Sean Noble put something up last night, and I actually loved what he said. I wrote it down here, where he pretty much just said he doesn't really care. His thoughts were, I don't really care what way they decide to do it, just work harder and find a way in. And I kind of sometimes do just lean towards that I'm like, you know what, this is the process. I mean, you're actually a clear example, Tom, as is my brother, of if you want to be good in this sport, you've got to commit to it. Like you've got to go race. You've got to go race more. You've got to do your time. So I think there's some people out there who probably don't want to have to travel for all of the races and they want it to be a bit easier for them. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is that you've got to find a race if you want to succeed in the sport. I mean, Aussies have shown that they're willing to do it. They're willing to travel. They're willing to really commit wholeheartedly to this sport. So they're the ones who are going to succeed if you do that. But I think as well, we've got to remember, Hyrox is such a new sport. Like they're probably only learning every single year. And I think this year's is a lot better than last year's with the 2-time average. Makes a lot more sense because then someone who did race a really quick time, per se, in Berlin, they've got to do it, they've got to back it up somewhere. It's not just banked on that one time. So, but then I can also see the other side of it is I think the athletes should be doing more racing than time trialing as well. So there's that component. So I don't know. I'm in two minds.
Yeah.
What about you, Anthony?
I mean, I don't know how I'm gonna review this, but the thing is the top 7 on each side, they're gonna find a way in no matter what the qualification system is.
Yeah.
Right. So I really don't think there's gonna be 7, 8 people that it doesn't matter if it's time based, it doesn't matter if it's race your way in, like they're going to get in. Can you imagine a race that Joanna's not going to get a qualifying spot? Lauren's not going to, like, they're going to get them, whatever the qualification system is. So they are finding the best 5, 7 people, right? It's those spots that are like 8 to 15 or 10 to 15. Everybody wants like what's easiest for them. And I'm going to be super highly biased here, right? Looking at this past season, and we don't know, like, what if this happens again? The U.S., who has more nine people qualified in the Elite 15 individuals, it's the largest country in terms of the amount of people in the elite. The U.S. had 0 races this season before the first major. So how are they supposed to qualify? I think that whether the courses are fast or slow, like the people living in Europe have a bigger advantage. They get to go. You can go race more frequently. And that's just like, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks if you're racing that often. But that's a big, like, whoever is going to make it, they're going to find their way in, right? For example, we saw Vivian this year. She had some like injury and like sickness, illness at first, but when she went there, she was gonna get a spot. She goes to Glasgow, and it was like, okay, Vivian's back to racing her way, like she's in. It didn't matter if it was time based or what. Like, there are people that will get in, kind of no matter what you assume.
They do have, though, Anthony, the 365 days. So I guess that for you guys, though, in America, like you've still got that year leading into it.
Yeah, but
where they've
now
got time.
now you're looking at they're switching over to the turf at Worlds, right? And if the turf, I don't think it's going to be, but if the turf is faster, then all the times we're going to see before, if it's like this past year, all the times we'll see before the first major will not be done in the U.S. And so they could all get bumped out. So
I
I
guess
think
I think one of the biggest questions for me is that, like, you ask yourself at the end of the season, are the 15, athletes on either side, are they the top 15?
yeah.
That's the biggest question, like, you can
Well, and
ask to
it's
actually
like
evaluate it.
you could always say, well, this person has beat this person or could beat this person, but who won when it matters? Did this person have an opportunity? Did they get a shot and just not get it? Then, everybody got their shot. I'd say at least the top 40 people all at least had one, maybe multiple opportunities to get in. And there are select people like Tom who took advantage of their opportunity and made it, right? Um, so it's not like people aren't getting the opportunity to get in. Um, is the 15 going to be like, if everybody raced at one time, would that be 1 through 15? Probably not. Would 1 through 5 be the same? Probably. 1 through 7? Probably. Um, so yeah, I mean, but there's still the best athletes that took advantage of their time to get in when they could,
Yeah.
right?
That's also just sport, right? Like, I just think, I think you're right, Anthony, that I do think the top 7 or 8, or maybe even the top 10 definitely do get in. But also in sport, you're going to have a few of those, like, wild card teams, Like, I'm
Yeah.
probably thinking of, like, a football analogy. Like, you're always going to have someone who makes it through to the semi-finals that you just didn't expect. Like, that's what keeps this sport exciting. So,
Yeah, and I mean, this is multiple opportunities to qualify, right? You
yeah.
have you have at least 5 opportunities in, like, this season. We had 5 opportunities to qualify, and look who took advantage of those abilities. Like, if you had it like any other sport, right? You go through the regular season, you could be the best regular season racer, and then all of a sudden you hit the postseason and it's one and done because you had one bad race, and now you don't get to move on in a bracket style competition. You see it all the
Mm-hmm.
time with, like, wrestling and March Madness and all this other stuff where they could have been the best person all year and they could have been undefeated, and then their one loss comes in the first or second round of the playoffs and they're out, they're done. It doesn't matter if they were the best that
Yeah.
whole year, you know? Um, it's the people that take advantage when they need to.
Yeah.
And you think of the people who this season have raced every major, James, thinking on the men's side, is Tim Vinish maybe?
Tim,
You
yeah,
know,
John.
they've all qualified because in my eyes, well, they're racing all the time. Like,
Bo.
they deserve to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, deserve and, like, earning their spots are
Well,
completely
yes,
different. But
yeah,
those guys that showed up to the majors that got it, like, they gave themselves more opportunities and they got it when it mattered.
yeah,
Yeah. Something I'd like to see is with triathlon they have like a professional card that you can get basically. So you have to come like a specific position in a triathlon, and then you can qualify to become a professional athlete. So let's say once you do a sub for the men, maybe once you do a sub 60 time or something similar to that, you can then in triathlon they do is you pay like a membership each year, like $1,000, and then you have free entry into any race throughout the year, so you don't have to line up in a queue or potentially miss out on a race, and then you can yeah, basically just enter a race a few weeks before, or yeah, I'd like to see something like that. I think just for the athletes who are trying to qualify for the Elite 15, I think would be um,
A
helpful.
pro card, and if you have the pro
yeah.
card, you get put in heat number one, and there's no mistake about it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
like that idea because that's the other issue is that we're going to start having, even here in Australia, is that I think Sydney is banking up to be the biggest Hyrox race ever that weekend. I've heard something like 20,000 people are racing. It was so hard for some people to get tickets. Like, you just don't want these athletes, who are really trying to, they're probably in the top 50 or top 40 and they just can't even get a ticket. So I don't mind that idea, Tom, of just having that, it's a certain, maybe it's sub 60 minutes for the males, maybe it's sub 65 minutes for the females. Like, it's having that, you're a pro racer.
Yeah,
I think it's got to be a little stricter than that. I think it's come to the point where the guys, it's probably going to be you have to have a sub 58, and maybe your average has to be below sub 58, and the women it's got to be below sub 63 or 64, and you get whatever the top 30 or 40 people are the ones that get the pro cards. and or whatever the maximum heat could be, whatever the maximum heat size could be. If that's 30 or if that's 40, you get a pro card, and that pro card puts you in heat number 1 at whatever race it is. And that way, if there is an LCQ, like, you have to have the pro card to get it. So there is nobody coming from a back heat, and you kind of have to show beforehand that you're capable of racing at that level to toe the line with the elite field.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, I know for Sydney, I had like 2 or 3 of my family members trying to buy my ticket. I was at work, and it was just like crazy on the computer. They're all in the queue. And then also, like, if you are trying to qualify for the Elite 15, you do a race and you haven't got a quick enough time, then you're sort of scrambling around trying to find another race to do. Whereas if you have a pro card and you can just book into another race like a few weeks before, I think that would just be super handy for athletes trying to compete at that level.
Yeah. I do think the elite athletes that qualify for Worlds, and maybe you don't know this, in the past, they get 2 free entries to any race they want in the next season. So you guys probably will be able to get that this year. I don't know. They haven't said anything about that, but that's what the past has been.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
And then question, because we brought it up, you're one of the rookies. There's 10 rookies, 2 men, 8 women in the field. I want to know, who do you think would get the men's rookie of the year, and who do you think would get the women's rookie of the year, or the overall rookie of the year? How you feel? And is it only whoever places the highest at World gets it, or is it taking
women's? I'd say Joanna, surely. Yeah, her season's
I think
been
it would probably
insane.
take a pretty epic collapse at Worlds for her not to get women's rookie of the year.
Yeah.
And then, so what are we just talking about? The men's between Hide and myself.
Hide
That's
yourself,
tough question to ask,
I guess
Tom.
possibly Rylan, if you consider Rylan a rookie since he hasn't towed the start line.
Yeah. That's a hard one because I'm in the conversation, but I guess we'll see who gets that top position at Worlds. I think. Yeah.
Bet on yourself. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since we're on it, the other women that are rookies, because we said the men. So the men are Hide, Tom, and Rylan. I guess we can consider a rookie this year. Whereas the women field, it's Joanna, Seka Arning, Jess Petro, Emily Dahman, Sinead Bent, Ida Matilda Steensgaard, Melanie Maher, and Lucy Proctor are the 8 women that have never started on Elite 15 World Championship start line. Some of them, it's not their like rookie season, like they've been to the World Championships at the age group level and stuff, but none of them have done the Elite 15 World Championships start line.
Anthony, what's your analysis of why there's so many women? Like, that's more than half the field of rookies on the female side, and there's only 2 in the males. Like, what's your analysis of that?
A lot of turnover. We talked about the depth of the men's field last year, and I think it just goes to show that we said this a couple weeks ago, how many new men were actually in the field. It was only like 4 or 5 versus there's like 8 or more new women this year that didn't start last year. And it's I think the depth of the women's field is catching up or surpassing now. Like, the men's field has been pretty deep in terms of like the level that they're racing at. I mean, we saw it in the very first major. There was 40 seconds between like 4th and 11th, right? Like the margin of error is very, very tight on the men's field. A couple seconds could literally buy you several places. Whereas on the women's field, it's a little bit more spread out, or at least in the past, it's been more and more spread out. But just like we talked about last year with Hunter, once you start to reach a certain level where you're getting to be the best, it's harder to get more, whereas everybody else has that time to creep up to where you're at. So instead of like somebody being able to beat you on your worst day and their best day, now like not your best day can turn into their best day is very close, right? So if you aren't on your game, then other people can beat you, and that experience factor starts to get narrower and narrower.
I just realised I think we might be missing Jake Dearden. I think he might be a rookie for the Elite 15. I don't think he's
He
raced.
is.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is a rookie for the Elite
He is a
15. I did
rookie.
not write him in there.
Yeah, no, I looked back at one of our previous notes, but I guess we got Jake thrown in there as well. Who, from memory, Jake qualified from is that the Glasgow race where he came 6th or 7th?
Yeah, Glasgow.
think
So,
so,
Yeah.
yeah, Jake Dearden. Yeah, I skipped over him. Jake Dearden, Rylan, Tom, and Hide are the ones that have not towed a World Championship Elite 15 start line before. Awesome.
I think you're right about I think the women's field is just catching up a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like next season it will change even more. Just seeing the caliber of athletes coming through, I think. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's hard to make like that type of prediction with it, in terms of like what turnover do you see, because you're not gonna. It's the same question as like if you look at the Elite 15 athletes that are in there, and you say XYZ person should have made it. Yannick Chopla, I think, raced in all 4 majors, didn't make it. Okay, but who do you boot out for him to be in? Right? There's not a question, like, because somebody that was in there had to have beat him. And so that's the question of like, where do you see that going? There are people we could say, yeah, it'd be great to see him in, but again, we'll see them at Worlds. Hopefully they race age group and we see them blow away the gauge group, and you'll be like, you know what? That's the person to watch next year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
it's exactly what we did with Hide and Sean Noble last year. They were 1-2 overall at Nice for outside the Elite 15.
Well, depending on how your season goes, or how the World Champs race goes, are you all in for next year as well? Like you'll be doing what you can to race and get back into the Elite 15?
Yeah, definitely. My whole year will be based around trying to qualify for the Elite 15 next year. We're in the process of trying to potentially work maybe one less day a week, but we'll see how that goes. But hopefully they announce the qualification system soon. Do you guys have any information on that at all? No. Maybe not. Nothing that you can say.
Anthony looks like a maybe.
Yeah.
No, I don't. But I will be intrigued to see if there's any changes to it, and also just if it's a time qualification, when those times will go up again online, just to see where everyone's placed after this season.
Yeah, I know if it is time based, I'll have to either get a quick time at Chicago or go and chase another race.
Or, if they do it the same as last year, you just got to be, what was it, top 5 at Worlds, and you'll get your auto qualifier.
Yeah.
True.
If they do that again, you could just go be top 5.
Yeah, right.
So if they do it the same as last year, Anthony, that means what, James, Dylan, Scott, and Ronk will have auto qualified. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would assume that they're going to still do auto qualifiers. I think JK asked early on after he won a major something about, does this qualify me for next year? And he got an affirmative, and whether that sticks around or not. But you would assume that if they do it the same as in terms of how people auto qualify, then the 3 men would be Ronk, JK, and Dylan. And then the women would be Lauren and Joanna.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Crazy for the women. It's just the 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 last year, too. I mean, the men are the ones.
Oh, of course. It was just Lauren and Meg last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
it was the men that was
the men are the one that go crazy, that have people that can't win more than 1 major, except for JK, apparently.
No bias. No bias on this live show.
No. All right.
Now that'll be interesting if they change it or not, or if they keep it the same system.
Yeah. Tom, I did want to mention, because we talked a lot about your individual. Bernice briefly brought up your doubles. What do you do between individuals on Thursday night and your doubles race on Saturday?
Yeah. It depends. I don't think the Australian relay team's been announced yet, but at this stage, yeah, I'm not in that. But
Well, I
yeah,
was
I'm
gonna
not too
ask
sure.
if you got asked for that. So
Yeah,
I
at this
didn't
stage
ask
I
you.
haven't. I'm not sure if the team's been organised yet or not.
I
So
think they
yeah,
had to submit last Friday. So
okay, yeah. So yeah, the plan for the Friday for me would probably be uh, try and get as much sleep as I can, but that's usually after Hyrox race I can get maybe 2 hours of sleep at most, unfortunately. Um, and then yeah, I'll try and do some sort of movement, probably jump on a bike for half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. And then I'm thinking I'll probably go and find like an ice bath or a sauna and do maybe some hot and cold, sort of a couple minutes in each, rotating back and forth just to try and get that blood flow going. Um, and then yeah, I'll use like a foam roller or something similar to that, and a lot of stretching probably, and that will be it. Also, my partner's Bree. She's racing the female pro age group race on the Friday, so I'll head down to the venue and watch that. But yeah, that'll probably be my Friday.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll
Um,
be good.
what do you do day of race then?
The day of the doubles race, I usually I try and sleep in like as long as I can. Like I'll sleep until midday sometime or 11 a.m. in the morning. Um, and then usually yeah, get up, have some breakfast, then usually go for like a 20 to 30 minute walk. Um, Come back, do some stretching. Then yeah, I'll usually have my second meal at some point, and depending on what time I wake up, I'll either just have the two meals, or sometimes I'll have like a third meal. But yeah, I've had like stomach issues in the past, like particularly racing events in the afternoon, so I just have to be careful with my nutrition. So yeah, that's usually my pre-race routine.
Awesome. Uh,
All a learning curve. I feel like it's just trial and error. All
Yeah,
that stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I know some athletes like to do a bit of a jog in the morning, but yeah, I just like to go for a walk. That sort of gets my body moving a bit, and then do some stretching. Um, yeah,
And Tom, are you racing? So you're racing Sydney? You got a ticket in the end?
yep. Racing
Yep.
Sydney, that'll be good. Yeah, get back from Chicago, then race Sydney, then I'll
Is
probably
that
have a week. Yeah, sorry.
is that three? It's about 3 weeks, is it, between
Yeah, three
Chicago and
weeks.
Sydney? Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
long.
So I think it's going to be quite hard not to get sick after Chicago being at the venue for a few days, but we'll see how we go. Do you know if JK is racing Sydney?
Oh, I do not. He's
Yeah.
I don't know if his coach even knows, to be honest. I
Yeah.
think from what I've heard, James is waiting until after World Champs to make a
I
call.
I think last time we talked about it, JK said he's going for a marathon after Worlds. He wants to beat
Yeah,
Jake
right.
Dearden's marathon. That's what I know, but I don't know if Sydney's thrown in there or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, cool. That's a pretty quick time. I think did Jake didn't do 2:29 or 2:28 or
227? Yeah,
I
something
think
like that.
220
2:27?
something.
Wow,
I
that's
think
quick.
I hope James doesn't mind me saying I think his PB is a 2:49. James, I hope I'm not wrong there, but I think it was a 2:49. But that was many, many years ago, so
Well,
Yeah,
I
I'll be
think I was
intrigued.
telling him I don't. I think right now, without like he's not doing like obviously marathon style long runs. He's not doing marathon specifics training. So I told him I think right now he might be able to do like a 235, like if he just went out tomorrow, right, to do one.
yeah,
Um, but as far as getting to that 227, it's going to take a little bit of work. And I think he said he has like 6 to 8 weeks after Worlds to try to get it
yeah,
in.
right.
So we're gonna plan it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that'd be good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When are you guys heading to Chicago?
I was gonna ask you the same thing. I will get to Chicago Thursday, the day of the race.
Yep, nice.
You've got Lily in tow.
Yep. I got
Anthony?
Lily.
Yep.
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 Yeah.
I'll be there. I leave Tuesday, Tom, and arrive the Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What about you?
I get there on the Saturday,
Okay.
the week before. Yeah.
So got a few days, about 4 days, 5 days. Yep.
Yeah.
And you guys staying near the venue or?
I think we're about a 15 minute drive away.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
That's what
You-
Anthony was telling me. It's not the most ideal venue, is it, for accommodation? Everywhere's kind of a bit
Yeah.
walking distance.
Yeah. I mean, it's if you're not staying at the Sable, which is like $500+ a night, then it's a half mile where you get dropped off from your Uber to walk
Yeah,
to walk to
right.
the venue. So make sure you know what you're bringing and everything. And then all the hotels are like another quarter to half mile from there. So if you're not at the Sable, like maybe it's better just to stay a little further away. But
Yeah. Okay.
everybody has their own, like in terms of how far they're walking, what you're bringing, how long you're going to stay in each area. So it's tough. It's a tough place. I like to see, like we went to Anaheim Convention Center for the Deca Fit a few weeks ago, and there were within a quarter mile, so 400 meters, there was like 8 hotels, 8 different like high-rise hotels. They were less than a 400-meter walk to the front door of the venue. And I was like, that's the type of venue you need.
Yeah. It makes a difference, definitely. Like I like being close to the race venue. It's
Yeah.
super handy.
Yep.
One last question for you, Tom. Are you keen to see a major in Australia next
Yes.
season?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean, I'd be
Have you-
surprised if you said no. It's probably a stupid question, but yeah, let's all hope that there is one. I mean, look, we had the Elite 15 doubles. We had a race down here this season, so it would never surprise me if we had a major. You know, we've had one in Hong Kong. We're at least going to have one in the APAC region. I think we can be assured of, but it would be great to have one here in Oz.
Yeah, it certainly would be. Yeah, I'm pretty keen for them to announce that qualification system process so we can start planning the season, I guess.
Yeah, announce where all the majors are and
Yeah,
the World Championships for next season. Yeah.
yeah.
Now that the cities are bidding, I guess, for
Yeah. Now
actually
that they're
have the
bidding,
rights to them.
that's interesting. Where do you think it'll end up with all the bids? Does it
Me?
does it just make Middle East, or do you think there's going to be other cities that they'll take into account, or is it just the highest bid?
I haven't thought too much about it, to be honest. What do you think, Bernice?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a Dubai, just because
Yeah.
they've got the money to throw
Money.
at it. I mean, yeah, I personally think it's going to be a while before we see a world champs in Australia. I think that's going to be a fair few years away. Otherwise, if it wasn't a Dubai, I'd probably more say maybe somewhere in Europe. You know, I know it's coming up to 10 years of Hyrox. You know, maybe they'll do a Germany one, for example, just to celebrate the 10 years in 2027. So, yeah, that's probably my first thoughts. But I honestly would not be surprised with somewhere like Dubai, which actually wouldn't be that bad for us, would it, from Australia?
No, it'd be
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Wouldn't that be great, Bernice? Are they going to count, because this is season 7 technically in terms of the World Championships? This is 7
Oh, true.
because even though it
Okay.
started in 2020 or 2017, season 10, like in terms of when the World Championships are, wouldn't be till 2029.
You're right. Well, do they call, is this particular season, I guess they just call it the 24 to 25 season, don't they? They don't really call it season 6 or 7 or, yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
They used to write it on the flags like season 7, season 2, season 4, but now I just checked, it says 2024, 2025.
Okay. Oh, well, maybe they won't. I don't know. Maybe they will wait till 2029 for a 10-year, because then they'll have 10 world champions that they can mention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or they
What
could
Who
still,
knows?
they could still, I mean, they could still just have the four women and the four men.
Well, yeah, I guess it's been repeated multiple times by your wife and Hunter.
What do you guys think about the sled turf being used for the first time at Chicago? Do you think it'll change the race?
Anthony probably knows more than me. I mean, I'm excited to see it. To see, have
Yeah.
you at all experienced it, Tom? Like, have you
No,
used it?
no.
No.
Yeah, no, I actually don't even know what it looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be good to have a standardized turf that they use, I think, down the track, that's for sure.
Yeah, it'll be good to have something that attempts to equalize the lanes, whether it's heavier or lighter or exactly the same as the carpet. And you don't really know either, right? Because um, everything we've heard as far as it goes is they try to make it as equal to the carpet as possible. But which carpet? Are you talking Amsterdam's carpet, Hong Kong's carpet, Las Vegas's carpet, like Barcelona's carpet? Which carpet is it most equal to? And then just checking if it's equal across every lane. Will it continue to be variable, like luck of the draw type stuff, or are you gonna? Is it the sleds or is it the actual surface?
Yeah.
I'll be intrigued to see if next season there's less of an array of the times, if they become a little bit more consistent, or if it doesn't really change at all, if we're still going to see like these so-called like fast times in Berlin. I mean, I know Berlin was probably more so due to the one loop, but a lot of the times the fast courses, it's not just due to the running, because Hyrox does have the standard of the 10 meters either side. Like, it's meant to
They
be between
they do
8.65
measure,
and
they do wheel it
8.75.
out. Somebody walks the whole course and wheels it out, and so I know they do that. They did it. I I was told by the person that did it in Glasgow. They did it in Berlin. Like they sit there and they do wheel out the courses. It's not a this course is short. You might be able to run fast because it's a good competition. But there's a lot of factors that go into how fast it could be run. I think Auckland could have been a really good course, but it was so hot and humid that like you guys suffered, and that could add minutes to your time. Same thing in Berlin. Berlin had very favorable weather, and the setup was beautiful for how you can run that race. Even if the rock zone is long, like it's taken into account. So I think just the weather and everything played into Berlin as well, because we saw those pictures, those videos of just the torrential downpour that looked awesome. By the way, I remember growing up, we'd like go play football in like the monsoons that we'd get in Vegas, right? And it's just fun, and I'd love to go run in that, but that's not going to lead to a fast time. But the cool weather that precedes that, and like the possibly low pressures and stuff, like yeah, of course.
Do you
There are
know?
a lot of factors.
Do you know if they measure like inside the station zone? So like some events will have like 30 ski ergs set up, some will have 60 set up. Do they? Because I know they measure the rock zone, but do they actually measure the
So
area inside
what
all the
I
stations?
heard about it was the 8700 was from like all the loops, and then from like the timing mat. So if you're inside the station, the running that's inside the station isn't part of it. Um, but then I recently heard somebody say it is, so I don't know exactly. Like I was always under the impression, from what I've been told, that it was all the running and then like where you enter the rock zone to where the timing mat is at your station. So if you're running into a ski erg station that only has 10 lined up, obviously it's shorter lining than like those ones that have had 40 down giant rows, right?
Yeah. Because yeah, if they don't measure that, that would probably account for a lot of the differences in the
Yeah.
venues, I would say.
Well, and I mean, you can see it too in some people's ski and road times. Like um, I've seen people that are like on the women's side, oh, we got a 404 ski erg, and they were pulling 158 the whole time. So you're like, oh, there was a short run in and run out, versus sometimes you'll see like a 425 or a 430, right? So it's blocked up. I think Tom there froze.
Oh, he is frozen.
He is frozen.
I thought he just looked surprised.
Uh,
That's
But we'll
actually
see
that's
if we
interesting,
get.
Anthony. Yeah, I didn't realize it was actually from the timing mat.
Yeah, we'll see if we
Yeah.
can get Tom back. But if Tom's unable to jump back in, we have more to talk about, including more in depth on the Berlin course. But one thing we did notice is that they put out Hyrox World
I think he's back.
put out
Yeah,
the.
sorry.
Oh yeah, there
That's
you
all
go.
good.
Not sure what happened there. Sorry, what did I miss? Not
What were we
much.
talking about?
The-
No, I actually didn't. I didn't realize what Anthony was saying was it was. Yeah, I guess that's a good point, Tom. That if it doesn't include the run time, if a station is longer at one venue than it is, yeah, that can definitely account for
Yeah,
your time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Well, if you go back and watch too, like the Vienna course 2024, where the men's rowers got all messed up and they had to take the time off. To get into that station, there was like an archway, and both the skiers and the rowers were back to back to each other. But the timing mat was like way over here. People would enter that. They had to run around all the skiers to get back down to the first or second rower or whatever rower they were on. And then their time wasn't until they got back out of that arch, right? That time that it took was like an extra 20 seconds for each the ski and the row, because it was a big loop, right? So you had like 20 to 40 seconds added onto the time basically at that venue. And so the question is, did that count, or was it only to the timing mat?
Yeah, yeah,
And even if it was, you got to imagine those 180-degree turns. Those are rough. You got to slow down. You can't keep speed going 180. So every single time you do that, it's going to slow the course down as well.
yeah, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see that this year with the Hong Kong and Las Vegas majors, both had hard 180-degree turns entering the rock zone, going to their stations. So, and those of the courses we saw this year, those were the two slowest in terms of the majors. They had 180-degree turns. So if you want a fast course, don't make it a 180.
Yeah,
What I was going to talk about after Tom froze there was just how difficult it actually is to make the World Championships. If you look at what Hyrox posted this year, there's going to be 4,500 athletes and 7,500 spectators that are at the World Championships. So you're talking 12,000 people over that 4-day weekend, right? So it's going to be very busy. But just the athletes, looking at 4,500 athletes, we had numbers from earlier this year. They've said they've already crested over 500,000 people racing so far. And the total for this year was supposed to be 550,000. If 4,500 athletes made it out of 550,000, that means that only the top 0.8% of each division qualified for Worlds. So if you are an age group athlete at Worlds, you are still better than, not better, but you're faster than 99.2% of everybody that's raced in Hyrox. And if you've made I did the math as well on the 30 men and 30 women that are the Elite 15 individuals, it's the 0.005%. So if you're literally talking, if you want to be an Elite 15 athlete, you got to be in the 99.995 percentile. It's just astonishing how much this sport has grown from what I remember our first race being, where there was like 300 to 500 people on a day in Miami in 2019.
What's going to be crazy is what next year's season the percentage will be, because
It's gonna be like half a percent.
Yeah, I
They're-
think I've heard that the athletes, like total athletes and competitors across the globe, is meant to double again, is what they're
Yeah,
expecting.
they're gonna have like 83 total events this year. I'm sure next year
Yeah.
they're gonna break 100. Like, and you're talking each event, depending on the duration, is like maybe 4 to 5,000 people a day. it's getting huge. So you're talking almost 750,000 people might participate. I read a number somewhere that said by 2027 they think it's going to be 1 million participants within a year, just with the amount of events they have and the cities they're in. So you're talking about getting it from the less than 1% to the less than 0.5% of people will actually qualify for the World Championships. So I think you're going to see more and more acceptance of like, I got in, I'm not missing out on my ticket. Like I'm gonna get that ticket.
Yeah. I should just mention here we've had a comment from Carolyn Shetler who said, I did Berlin this last weekend and it was everything and more. I raced Friday and it was a mixed bag, including rain, headwind, and then by the end sunshine in my face while I tried to do my wall balls. An absolutely fun venue and so beautiful. I think it just goes back to your point, Tom, like we shouldn't discredit those times. Like they were still achieved by the athlete. Like you can think it's a fast course or not, but they still did the times. They still did a PB, whoever it was. So good on you, Carolyn.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we dive deep into the actual Berlin course and like some of the times and what went on there, have you done or follow any CrossFit, Tom?
I don't follow it, but yeah, like I definitely see like what some of the top CrossFit athletes are doing. Yeah.
Right. So exciting this past week. The CrossFit online semifinals wrapped up. We've had in-person semifinals as well, where people have qualified for the games. But what's super exciting is Miriam Von Rohr has qualified for the CrossFit Games. The top 11 out of the online semifinal is who are going to qualify. She got 10th place. So she qualified after winning the Open the last 2 years. She qualified for the game. She's the first individual to make both the Hyrox Elite 15 and the CrossFit Games. Not in the same season, but that is so impressive to be able to go from this event into something like that and be able to excel at the highest level at both of them. Miriam has placed as high as 3rd at Worlds in 2022.
Yeah, that's insane. Like people talk about the sports being quite similar, but I think they're actually quite different. Like, yeah, we do some of the same movements, but I think it takes like a very different athlete to excel at both. So that's super impressive.
Yep. And so you have a Hyrox Elite 15 individual now that has made the CrossFit Games. And I don't know if you guys have followed beforehand, but she also did the French Throwdown. And in the final event of the French Throwdown, it was like a scary situation if you watched it. She had a vasovagal syncope, which is a sudden drop of like heart rate and blood pressure, and she passed out in the final event. And she had lifted a D-ball sandbag, brought it up, put it down, and then she just like takes a step back and just collapses to the ground. But for her to recover from that, come back, take care of business in the online semifinal and make the games, I think it's just absolutely impressive. And just what you said, Tom, they're different sports. Hybrid fitness or Hyrox has a run component that usually takes away from strength, and CrossFit is so strength biased that to be able to show or go back and forth between the two is absolutely amazing. It's a 3-year gap. I was actually looking this past week. I got one of those Facebook reminders about what we were doing 3 years ago, and it showed me being at the 2022 Las Vegas World Championships with Lauren being pregnant. We had our baby shower she had her baby shower that weekend, and she ran the World Championships that weekend. And that's where Miriam got 3rd. So she went from 3rd in the Hyrox Elite 15 to winning the CrossFit Open, and then making the games.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
Extremely great job to her. Super impressive. Excited to see what she can do there.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to do most of the movements that the CrossFitters do. So yeah, that's just insane.
And we've had people not really on the men's side. There hasn't been a lot of crossover, but on the women's side, the 3 crossovers I can think of is my wife Lauren was a CrossFit regional athlete, so she made it 3 times. Obviously, she's come over and done well. You have Rachel Rachel Schreiber, who was a semifinal athlete in CrossFit, and she was like only 2 or 3 spots out from making the games one year at the Granite Games. Um, she came over and did well for a couple seasons, and then you had Michaela Norman, who was a CrossFit Games team athlete, come over and make the Elite 15. Unfortunately, she had to drop before running in any of the World Championships, or she did run last year, but she's been plagued by injury. So if she comes back, that'd be awesome. But I think that it's impressive that the women's side, it seems to be doable, but nobody on the men's side. And I think it might just be the amount of strength the men need for CrossFit versus the amount of speed the men need for Hyrox. It just doesn't play well to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we know the quickest time a male CrossFit Games athlete's done at a Hyrox event?
I think it might be Ricky still. With like
Yeah.
he ran like
I
a
was gonna say it'd be Ricky.
62, right?
And he recently raced in Brisbane. I've got I'll quickly look at a high result.
I don't know if he beat his previous time when he raced in Brisbane. I think
He
Sydney
did. I know he was trying to do the sub 1 hour, so he did 1 hour and 42.
Okay.
And he really wanted to get that sub 1 hour.
Yeah, because I don't think any of the other guys that have gone individual have ever come close. What's his name? James
Newbury. I mean, because he's
not
kind of more
not
focused
James
on the.
Newbury.
Not James Newbury.
Because who's the last year's CrossFit Games champion?
What's his name?
He ran in Vegas. James Sprague.
Yeah.
I think he ran like a 62 or 63 in
Yeah.
Vegas, which was like 20th overall in Vegas, and I think he won his age group. But yeah, not what Ricky had done.
Yeah, James Sprague did a 103.04.
Yeah. So.
I mean, James Newbury James Newbury, he's done a few solos, but looking at it, him and Tia have done quite well now within that mixed doubles. Should point out though that Tom and his partner Bree actually beat them in Melbourne in 2024. But this is one of those things we were talking about earlier with the later waves, Anthony. I just felt like that wasn't highlighted. I mean, you can probably talk more to your experience, Tom, but I think it wasn't highlighted that much because Bree and Tom were in a later wave.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit disappointing being in a later wave.
Yeah.
Especially because there was like that YouTube video and all the top athletes racing in that first wave, and we sort of didn't really get a mention for winning it. But yeah, hopefully that's something that Hyrox are looking at.
Gotta get your pro card. Why are you running from a back wave?
That's right.
So, all right. So just to give everybody their flowers that did race actually this weekend, I want to go over Berlin results and Incheon results. So for Berlin, on the men's side, I pulled up the top 11 times because in 11th place, you had Affan Humphreys, who has actually ran in Elite 15 major races this year. His PR race is a 56:19, and he ran a 56:47. But if you look at the top, so he did not set a PR in Berlin. But if you look at the top 10 men, 9 of the top 10 men had a PR racing in Berlin. The only one that didn't set their PR racing in Berlin this year is actually the lone athlete that is qualified for the World Championships in the Elite 15, and that's Thomas Turdvik. He ran 9 seconds off his PR, while the other 9 athletes had anywhere from a 37-second to a 4-minute and 4-second PR in terms of that. And now, whether it's training or ability to get to a course or whatever it is, I don't think the course was improperly measured. I think it's just the efficiency of that course and the people there taking advantage of being able to run it is a smart move. And no matter how they use this to qualify, that's beneficial to them now. Emilio, in order to crack into the Elite 15, if it's still just that 57-minute mark is the cut line. I think it's a little lower now, but if we say 57 minutes, he really only needs to run one more time that's like a 59:25, and he's in. But these other men, they don't have that luxury, right? Like they do have one fast time, but not a lot of them have that within another minute or 2 minutes. Like it's just gonna bring the times down. But like we were talking about earlier, I don't think it's gonna change a lot. I think the men's field is so deep that not that any of these men don't belong there or don't deserve to be in it, but they get a chance to back it up with a second time. And if they can't do it, they won't make the Elite 15. I think that's what's great about the current qualification is that it takes 2 times to do it. Yeah, you have to do like, yeah, you got a 55, you got a 54, like a 56. They still had to run that time. They still had to do the work in that duration, you know? So they earn that time. And if they want to be in and they want to prove that they should be in the Elite 15, they have to do it again. And I don't think that anybody's saying, go do it twice. That's the best. Like, if they're able to, they deserve to be there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody this year could have said that Yannick didn't deserve to be in the Elite 15 at all the majors, because he's the one that won Berlin last year. And at the time, everybody was claiming it was a fast course, fast time. But he went on to get his second and third times and then be able to run the races. Like, he showed he belonged there. So I think that, yeah, maybe they're fast, but it's still, they have to be able to go do it.
Yeah, they do. They have to be able to back it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything we want to add to the men before I go on to the women?
I don't think so.
No.
So on the women's side, I pulled down to the 12th place, which was Jana Liebenstedt. Jana took 12th. She was in all the majors, I think, this year, or at least 3 of them. She did not hit a PR. She ran a 64.04, which is still a fantastic race. In the top 10, we'll call it the top 10, 9th and 10th place were running in their very first pro race and went under 64 minutes. And then of the top 8, 5 of them hit a PR. But they weren't as significant as PRs as the men's side. The most significant PR came from Rebecca Hammond, who took 7th. She ran 3:23 faster than her PR, but you got to remember her PR was actually from 4 years ago, because she left Hyrox and I don't know, went and got a doctor, or she's a medical doctor now, so she had to go do her residency. So, important life things.
Yeah.
And then she came back and did amazing 63.03. Like, Rebecca's somebody that I've heard multiple people say, and I absolutely believe it because I've watched her race before back when she was racing, that if she had stayed in the sport, she might be one of the top 3 right now. She's good, and she's just going to keep improving. Again, on the women's side, there were 2 Elite 15 athletes qualified for Worlds. And that would be second place is Melanie Maher, who qualified from the last chance qualifier. She hit a 58-second PR. And then Ida Matilda Stinsgaard, who did not beat her PR. She was 51 seconds off. So fast course or not, can't tell.
Yeah, interesting. I guess that some hit PRs, some didn't. I was just thinking, Anthony, which course was it? Was it Glasgow? I think, or actually maybe it was. Oh, I feel like there was one of the majors where they were saying that they thought it was a fast course as well, because it was Glasgow, wasn't it? Because your wife broke the world record. Lauren Weeks did, Joanna did, JK was 1 second off. Haha. But
7/10 of a second off.
7/10 of a second off. But then, you kind of have a look at that and it's like, well, then some athletes didn't hit PRs. So how do you really evaluate whether it was or not?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's the level of competition. And like we said, there's external factors like how the course is set up. It doesn't mean it's short. And talking to people that actually wheeled out and measured Glasgow, it wasn't short. It was within that 86.90 to 87.10 total meters. So, yeah, not a short course, and it probably just ran fast. Maybe it was just because everybody said it was cold inside the venue, so people were able to just maintain higher work rates.
Yeah, could be anything.
And not everybody PR'd. So it's not like it was, and not everybody's going to have their best day, but still, it's if somebody has a really good day, even people that had really good days didn't hit their PR. So it's tough to measure it off that. But I just want to go over all the women because make sure that I don't know if I said who the top 5 men were, but I'm going to go over the women. A lot of really notable names here, and then one name that maybe is to look out for. So you got Lena Putters, who finished first in Berlin with a 61-minute flat. Melanie Maher, Zara Piergianni, who was only 9 seconds off of her PR. Manuela Garcia Camparos, 62.06, so a minute 44 PR for her. That's maybe a future name to look out for. In 5th place, you had Viola Oberlander, one of the Elite 15 staple women. And then 6th place was Tanya Strohschneider, Rebecca Hammond, Ida Matilda Stinsgaard, and then 2 people with their first pro races, Luis Armburster and Katie Sharkey. And then on the men's side, we already said Emilio. He won. Emilio Aguayo, 54.35. Second was Richard Heineck. Third was Alan Plo. Fourth, Aitor Lazarazu for Emilia. Fifth, Michael Stevens. Sixth was Thomas Turdvik. Thomas, Elite 15 World Championship racer. And then 7th, Hakan Burton, Mark Dean, and Pablo Valverde Reyes in 10th or 9th. So,
Yeah, good race.
great race. And this is where I was going to bring up, Tom, if you think that, what would your idea be about qualification? We already went over the pro card idea. I like the pro card idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have the perfect system in mind, but yeah, I think the pro card would definitely help. And then I think instead of having the time-based system to qualify for the majors, I think possibly having other races that you can, like certain races around the world that you can do to qualify for the majors. But obviously that's hard because then there's more travel involved for athletes and more racing as well. So yeah, I probably don't really have the perfect system in mind, but I just think the time-based system is just a bit hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. To go on Berlin, there was a lot of other people as well that also raced. Notable people qualified for the World Championships and the elite individuals, especially. But first, there was a world record set in Berlin on Friday, I think. The Sutherland brothers set the world's men's open doubles. So not the pro doubles. They set the world's men's open doubles with a 48.35 flying. Those guys are qualified for the Elite 15 doubles in Chicago. And then the following day, they didn't get a hold on to the record for long because the following day, Jake Williamson and Fabian Eisenlauer broke it with a 47.57 in the men's open doubles. And then other notable people that are qualified for Worlds that ran, you're looking at Alex Ronkovic, ran with Thiago Lusa. They hit a 49.36 in the pro doubles. So a great time. I think it's the second fastest pro doubles time ever. And then Seka Arning ran a pro doubles with Zelia Pols. They ended up taking second in the pro doubles with a 57.46. Linda Meyer and Faisal ran together in mixed doubles with a 58.01. Viola Oberlander and Peter Schiller ran a mixed doubles with a 52.38. It's a really fast mixed doubles time there. And then Zara Piergianni ran with her husband Carl Piergianni in mixed doubles with a 57.59. And Seka Arning ran again in a women's relay with Zelia Pols, Olivia Rose, and Ulrike Glockner. They ran an all-women's relay, finished in 55.15, which was tied for the 4th fastest women's relay ever ran.
Yeah,
Crazy.
some quick times.
Definitely.
So those are just some of the results from Berlin this last weekend. We also had another race in Korea that was ran. So in Incheon, the men's race, I didn't recognize really any names here, but you had Pierre Algrit, Anthony DiPaolo, Luke Penny, Biom Seok Hong, and the winning time Pierre got was 58:54. And then the Korean team captain, Wonjung Jung, got a 69:39, and he finished in 12th overall. On the women's side, Aisling Ryle ran a 70:28. And I don't even know how to say this. It's Korean Symbols was her name, so I don't know how to pronounce that, but
Come on, Anthony.
72:35.
You should know that.
And then in third was Ai Sunazawa, ran a 78:45. She was the first Japanese woman as well, which brings us to there's an event that's going to happen in Japan this summer in Yokohama that will be the first Japan event. So that's exciting to see new countries being added all the time. So I also saw the several relay teams were announced. I don't know, Bernice, if you want to go pull up and see if any more were announced while we were talking.
I've been checking all through the episode.
Right.
We were hoping, Tom, that maybe there'd be another announcement because.
But I doubt it because they're in Europe
yeah.
and it's like 1:30 in the morning there.
Yeah, I was just hoping because that first announcement was 2 days ago. I thought they might be doing one a day.
I'll list the teams we know in the most probable finishing order. So we have the USA team, Lauren Weeks, Hunter McIntyre, Dylan Scott, and Megan Jacoby. The Australian team we know is Joanna, but we don't know all the other members yet. And then Germany, Tim Weinisch, Linda Meyer, Seka Arning, and Yannick Schapla. So that's a really strong team as well. That is... Right. So I don't know if there's another team. This is interesting. I don't know if there is another team that fields all 4 athletes as Elite 15 individual qualifiers besides the U.S. team.
Yeah, good point. So Germany doesn't even make that cut because Yannick didn't make the Elite 15. Yeah, okay. I guess we'll wait and see.
The other teams we know are Mexico with Aldo Lozano Marquez, Marion Gonzalez, Karen Lara, German Flores. Morocco, Jafar Mumin. He actually ran twice in Berlin. He got a 49:41 with Dieter Schwartzkopf and a 56:19 in mixed doubles with Angela Lanes. He's the Morocco team captain, and he's running with Jessica Benjulin, Sarah Sulami, and Mustafa Belkora. I'm really sorry if I'm butchering these names. And then other teams that we've seen announced by the captains include Italy or Ireland's Sean Noble, Afi Faye, Jeremy McConnell, and Lisa O'Rourke. Italy, Camilla Massa, Gloria Corbetta, Eugenio Bianchi, and Samuele Abrami. And then New Zealand, this is an interesting one. Bo Wills is captain of New Zealand, and he's not racing on the relay team. Yeah. He chose the team and decided not to put himself on it. So his team is Harry Hall, Abby Stevens, Kane Bajent, and Gabrielle Nico Robaker.
I think it's Nakora Baker.
Okay.
Close. But I found that really interesting. What do you think, Tom, about Bo being captain and not choosing himself? I mean, he could have his own personal reasons. He just doesn't want to. Hang on. Bo is racing Elite 15 doubles, isn't he?
So Bo is racing Elite 15 doubles with Eugenio Bianchi, who is listed on the Italian team.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's surprising. But yeah, whether he's saving himself for that race or, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, just wants a break. I mean, both Harry Hall. Actually, no, Harry's not. Gabrielle is racing in the Elite 15 doubles. I don't think Harry is. I think he's racing age group. So, Yeah, that's
Yep.
interesting choices by Bo.
Mm.
Anyway, I'll wait and see when the rest of the relay teams get announced so that we know a little bit more.
Yeah,
And
hopefully by next week.
I can correct Anthony in the order of who will
Oh
win
no, I
with
put Australia in
on
there.
top.
I said Australia was in there.
I know, you said them second. They're definitely coming first.
So,
Tom, I know we've taken up so much of your time, but like, what's your thoughts just on the relays themselves coming down to strategy? You know, like if you were captain, for example, is there a certain strategy that you would have around the relays? Do you think it's going to come down more to strategy than it will actual fitness of the teams?
I think choosing the right person for the right station is obviously quite important. Um, yeah, obviously fitness plays a massive role and it's probably the main key factor. But yeah, I think putting athletes, setting them up to stations that they're strong in, and also, yeah, like for instance, like you're probably most likely going to put the men on the ergs, the ski and the row, just because of the size of the men and the strength of the men. Whereas, like, you might put a female on the wall balls because the target's going to be a bit shorter. So I think, yeah, it's just choosing the right people for the right job, and yeah, just the strategy around that. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I think sometimes the strategy is going to actually outwin fitness in a way when it comes to relay. I
Yeah,
actually went and rewatched the relay, like the extended highlights from last season, just out of interest, because that's just sometimes what I do, um, just the other day. And it was interesting. I just wanted to see what England and USA, because they were the two teams, and then I think it was Germany who came in third. I was intrigued to see what their strategy was, like where they placed the athletes. And I think one thing I took away from it is a lot of the teams last year seemed to have, like, the males really dominated the first half of the relay, which it's hard not to, because you kind of want them probably on the ergs. They're most likely going to be quicker. I mean, I don't think any female started on the ski last season that I could, and I don't think any female raced on the row last season in the relay. But then it was an interesting mix on the sleds that some teams still used their male athletes on the sled pull, on the sled push, but then that kind of leaves you with the females having to complete the back half of the race. And I mean, this is no offense to anyone, like it's just human nature.
yeah,
Like males are naturally going to be stronger, so
yeah,
it just doesn't leave a lot of room for, I guess, the catching up there in the back end. So anyway, it was interesting to watch what the strategies were last year and whether it's going to be similar strategies this year, or whether teams will have learnt what went well, what didn't go well last year, and change things up.
yeah, yeah. Definitely agree. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, Australia's going to win, so it doesn't really matter either way.
We can do like relay picks. I don't mind doing relay picks once all the teams are out. I don't know if they'll
Yeah, that
all
would be good.
come out with who's doing what, but we can assume who's going to do what, and then we'll see it. I am most interested to see what the final team is for Australia and what the final team is for England. I'm sure there's other countries that will factor in, but those are two that I am probably most interested in seeing.
I find it really fun to try and pick what stations they will put everyone on. Like, I've been trying to think the USA team who will do what. So maybe once the Australia team's out, Anthony, we can put forward our tips against
We
each
can-
other. Even though I think everyone knows you're going to be saying USA is going to win, and I'm going to say Australia is. So
I'm just
anyway,
going to root
thank
for
you,
my
Tom.
wife.
Yeah, exactly. But no, thank you, Tom. Thanks for joining us. I know it's a long show that we do. It's usually about an hour and a half, but yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'm obviously very biased. I always say that. I always preface everything I say with that I obviously have bias towards Australian athletes, but I love just seeing that APAC region accounts for 20% of the Elite 15 solo field this season, which is double what it was last season, which is amazing to see. So
Massive.
congrats again on the LCQ, because I know you were my wild card, I remember, in my podcast episode with Ian K, my preview.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you went and won the damn thing. So,
He
thank
helped
you.
He helped you win your bet against the end, didn't he?
He did. Yep. Ian sent me through. Oh my gosh, you should see how many UK biscuits we've got in there, like in our cupboards, jammy Dodgers. So if you're listening, Ian, I'm looking forward to some more jammy Dodgers when I win the whatever our world champs bet's going to be.
Yeah, no, well, thanks so much for having me on the show, guys. It's been really good chatting.
No, thank
Thanks,
you.
Tom.
We'll see
I
you.
appreciate you coming
see
on.
you in Chicago.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Cool. Anthony, anything else that we wanted to?
Well, I mean, you
Kinda
threw out
mention?
the Australia has 20% of the elite individual field, and the U.S. has 30%. So together,
Well,
50% of the field.
I think we do at least beat England this year. I haven't actually calculated it myself, but I think it's what
I think
Graham
England might
Halliday.
have 4. I don't know if
Yeah.
you count the whole UK as one or like the individual.
Yeah, good point. Well, they're not counted as one on the relay team, so technically, I think Graham Halliday would beg to differ if he was counted as. I think he likes to assert his Scottish heritage, not his UK heritage.
Before we do wrap up, I just want to say upcoming. I looked up at what is coming up for Bangkok is the next race. I noticed there were some names, some notable names there. Gabe Heck, who has a 57:22 PR. He's done the APAC region a lot. I believe he lives in Hong Kong from the U.S. 57:22. Gabe Heck is racing in Bangkok, and so is Michael Luge, Lougue, or Logue, with a 58:23 PR, is a minute behind Gabe. So it'd be interesting to see how those two race on course. Hopefully they're able to push each other. On the women's side, I tried to look up names. I didn't see a lot of notable names, but I looked up some times. Danielle Crew has a 70:33 PR. Biddy Sefton has a 73:40 PR. And Tanya Petrovic has a 75:14 PR. So those are some notable names to look out for in the Bangkok race coming up. As well as we have this weekend with that one race. And then we have a 4-event weekend the following weekend, which will include New York, which is outside again, Rimini, Riga, and Cardiff, which has what an awesome looking venue is. Then we have a weekend break before the World Championships in Chicago. So there are 3 weeks and 1 day until race time.
That's crazy. I can't believe how soon it is. And then after World Champs, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's kind of like only about a week or two break, isn't it, until the Singapore one is up first, followed by Sydney.
Yeah, there's another, I think there's only 2 weeks of break before they're back into next season.
Yeah,
And it starts
crazy.
up with Singapore, and then like 2 weeks after that, or 1 week after that, Sydney. And yeah, we really, there's not a lot of break between it. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. No, I definitely will. I'm probably jumping way too ahead of myself. We've got to focus on these world champs first. Well, hopefully next episode, Anthony, we've got all the relay teams out and we can maybe dive a little bit further into that, as well as have a few more guests on that we won't mention yet. But yeah, before the world champs in 3 weeks and 1 day.
Yeah. And then, we'll have a preview episode of the world champs. We'll
Yep.
probably have our preview episode the week before, because the episode that we have that's the day before Worlds, it'd be cool just to you'll have an on-site reporter in Bernice, and so maybe we can talk to various people. I am a little bit interested because I don't know, actually I don't think I'm supposed to say anything yet, but about the day before. So we'll wait until next week, and we'll wait until some things are announced.
Yeah. I think there'll be plenty of more announcements in the next week.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot coming out about this year's World Champs, about stuff for next year. So it's really cool. A lot of big things coming, and exciting time of year coming up.
Definitely is. I'm excited to preview the entire World Championships, Elite 15 solos, Elite 15 doubles, relays. There's just so much going on.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Thanks,
Awesome.
Anthony.
Thank you, Bernice.